Hey folks, apparently you can get the guards of Goodwater to let you in. You get an achievement for saving village from orcs, from saving 3 villages from orcs. If you convince the smith to double his offer, you get an achievement. If you give the perfect answers, which I failed, which annoys me, to the council. Amidst the distraught female dwarf, righteous, don't see the world as black and white. Celebrate the greatest feast in an unusual occasion. Vanquish the largest enemy camp. Firstling fortress, free the dwarf from captivity. Do what needs to be done to Geralda. Protect every single life. I imagine maybe if there's an objective to save so many villagers, not let one die. Kill 2 old enemies. And I'm seeing a spoiler as to who one of them is. Travel. Win a battle without a hero being hurt. How? As good as it gets. Good movie. Get a character level 10. Oink oink oink. Kill 1,000 enemies. Faithful to the end. Stay with us to the end. Then there's some stuff for horde mode, a chase, and a time trial. So, I just want to get achievements. I don't platinum games, but I want to get as much as I can on a single run. I'm not great at replaying games because I know what's happening. I did it again! No! Did it again. I'm not good at doing multiple runs of a game. I just don't have interest. There's no new content. It's the same ground again and again that I've seen before. So, it's no fun. It just ain't fun, Captain. Oh, my eyes are knotting.
Heya is well known for its love of the written word. Some of the scripts on offer are known to you from Lot Yonan's library.
The fabulous Rodario.
Cometh, dear spectators, cometh
Oh.
and see. Let the theatre curiosum, with its star actor,
I know
the
this guy.
fabulous Rodario, the mysterious Nomora, and the genius Magister Technicus Fergus, carry you off to another world. Now see and hear, dear spectators, the truth about Nudin the Knowledge Lusty, who disposed of the other magi in a most horrifying way and plunged Girdlegard into disaster. Girdlegard, it will be mine.
Not young.
I've seen that guy in in the music video by Blind Guardian. I keep referencing that song, Children of the Smith. Go watch it right now. It's a fantastic song. Those have light spoilers for the game. You saw the minecart ride. You see that other guy in a fight. You saw little bits from it, but it's enough to intrigue you. Not enough to actually spoil anything. You have no context. It just looks cool in a music video. So, it's a great song. Yes.
When you murdered Frala and the others.
To your horror, you realize that you can no longer talk. You feel a lump in your throat, and your eyes begin to burn, as images of the vaults and Syntharas appear in front of you.
I see that my first strike really hit you, Groundling. Oh, how they screamed. If only you had been there to help them.
Before you know it, you are overcome with hatred for those who destroyed your home and killed your loved ones.
By Fracas, I'm going to kill you.
You might try to. and I will take great pleasure in your attempt. Who shall I pick up next, hmm? Who amongst your traveling companions means the most to you?
You don't want to take part in the Alf's game, and keep your lips tightly sealed while you consider your means of escape.
This way! Was that an elf? If we're quick, we'll get that long ear yet. Alarm! Alarm! The orcs are attacking! Come, we must defend the walls.
Wait, when did this guy come back? Oh, is that him? Oh, he's certainly well geared, ain't he? Yeah, must be him.
At once.
What now?
Everyone to the walls.
Yes? Understood. On my way. For Brachus! Huh?
Okay.
Ho-ho!
Setting them just each one to each ladder.
What's up? Let's go! Huh? Yeah!
Yes, yes! I'm with you! And what
Yes.
now?
Understood.
What is it?
Huh?
What is it? Yes?
Damn it, human, move. Flimsy person.
Peggies! Another one bites the dust. And what now?
Yes?
What is it? Of course! Yes, yes! Too easy! Who's next?
Does annoy me how the enemies can aim through the goddamn defenses. Like they were shooting through a wall.
I'm with you!
I think we accidentally killed that human.
Very good. We're able to stop them. Syntheras.
You wish it weren't so. But it is clear to you now that the city can no longer be saved.
To the side gate. It's our only chance. Huh? On my way.
You know, we would have a better chance at saving this city if the humans damn helped.
Yes?
Rather than being worthless. Okay, you know, random peasant woman, you're actually being useful. If only you had actual hit, hit bar. Worth talking about.
And again. Huh? Huh? What's up? Disgusting. Understood. It's done.
And what now?
You having fun? Humans. They want to flee.
I'm with you! Yes, yes!
It does annoy me how they just stand around. If the orcs are pigs, the humans are just sheep. Ah, damn it.
Have
luck for you! On my way. Yes? What's up? He won't last long. And again.
Can't engage the orcs outside. The orcs here are bugging out. Okay, that might be enough. Yeah, there's seemingly saying there's 0. When the archers knock Tungdil down. Really?
It's locked. We have to open it somehow.
Perhaps we can be of service, gentlemen.
Step aside.
Are you thieves?
Certainly not. We are artists. People with extraordinary talents. Say, friends, as you clearly mean to leave Mithridania too, would you have anything against us joining you?
The fabulous Rodario.
Oh, an admirer of my skills? Who would have thought it? I am indeed the one and only fabulous Rodario. This worthy gentleman here is Fergus, the best Magister Technicus since human thought. And last but not least, the enchanting Namora, whose beauty makes the mayor's roses wither in envy. Perhaps we should discuss the rest when we are out of this mess.
We have a long and dangerous journey ahead of us. I don't think you really want to join us.
An epic and dangerous journey? That sounds like an adventure. And anyway, I have already seen that you know how to handle those weapons of yours. In these dangerous times, a big travel group offers the best protection, don't you think?
I don't know.
The orcs are still surging through the gate and over the wall. You decide that this isn't the right time for discussions.
All right then, let's go.
Let's get out of here. We'll be safe with the firstlings.
The firstlings. The splendor of their halls is said to be unrivaled. And I have heard they have fascinating contraptions, Fergus, that are almost reminiscent of magic.
It's open, let's go.
Like, this whole thing is kind of falling apart here. But I guess he's just a... Fergus here is just a very skilled human engineer. Seems like he had a crossbow with a scope on it.
In the evening, after your escape from Mithridania, you recover from your exertions around a campfire. Goimgar withdraws to a solitary corner. Bavragor devotes himself to his alcohol, and the twins get their smelly dwarf cheese out. Namora and Fergus exchange hugs and kisses on the other side of the fire, while Rodario sits next to you.
Ah, a journey with real dwarves to the stronghold of the firstlings. I'm sure I can write that into my new piece.
We're far enough away from Mithridania. Perhaps we should part ways tomorrow morning.
Rodario jumps up and begins to gesticulate ostentatiously.
I think you have underestimated us. Let me introduce myself.
I kind of
and
clicked
my
that option without
colleagues
thinking.
once more. I am the fabulous.
We don't have time to look after a pack of jesters.
Rodario seems offended for a moment, but then he grins, turns away from the group, and raises his right arm. A jet of flame shoots out of his sleeve. The dwarves are startled and amazed by the brief spectacle.
And what do you say now, critical Mr. Dwarf?
You're a magus. I don't particularly like them either.
At the Curiosum, magic is my area of responsibility. There is a tube under his arm with a flint and a bag full of Lycopediella seeds. When he firmly presses the bag, the flint sprays sparks and the seeds shoot out. And there you have it. Magic fire.
Masterly work, Fergus.
The Magister Technicus shows his appreciation with a nod of his head.
If they all have tricks like this up their sleeves, well, they might not be such a burden after all, Tungdil.
Yeah, that's actually would be insanely cumbersome to do. It would be easier almost to do it with magic, but still. They're certainly inventive, and will probably be the few humans to figure out how to make grenades. So, yeah, they might be a burden at all. Still not quite tech on the border of magic. You know, forget having a magical barrier. Just set up a force field. You know, not quite there yet, but give them time.
How are you doing for provisions? We don't have enough.
We are happy to share what we have. It isn't very much, though. We had to leave most of it behind.
Food is sure to be a problem on our journey. Winter's only just beginning to leave Wayan, and people will be keeping a tight grip on the stocks they do have because of the orc attacks.
We have to be frugal and organize as much food as we can. It wouldn't be much of a heroic story if we starved on the way to the firstlings.
I think I'm doing okay on food because I got as much as I could in the first bit.
I must congratulate you on your skills. Find it hard to believe that it's not achieved by magic.
Aha, thank you, but I assure you it has nothing to do with magic. Just alchemy and accomplished acting. We leave the sorcery to the magi.
Don't mention them. There's no love lost on Andakai and her walking iron tower.
You've met Andakai the Tempestuous? That is unbelievable. How was she?
She ran away to the Outer Lands. A damn disgrace.
Adakai had her reasons to leave us. She had already fought against Nodon and was unsuccessful. Furthermore, we wouldn't be here without her, and she told us about Keenfire.
Andakai, the bringer of hope. I like that. I'll have to use that in my new piece.
True to his words, Rodario takes out his notebook and writes something down.
Do you know anything about the firstlings? If I recall the map correctly, we need to cross the first large mountains in the Red Range and then pass through Snowdale to East Ironhowl's stronghold.
No one has seen the firstlings for hundreds of cycles, but there are many stories about them. Their craftsmanship is much vaunted, and there used to be trade via a narrow path that led into the mountains, but I don't think there is a man living now who has ever walked that road.
Our mission is to forge the legendary axe Keenfire and destroy the traitor Nodon. If you wish to accompany us through hunger, coldness, and danger, then do so. It's your decision.
How could we not partake in such a story? Just think, what a wonderful play we could make of it.
If we survive. I was hoping to only resurface once we reach the Red Range. Instead, we have a long journey and a dangerous climb ahead of us.
There may be another way apart from the old trading route. A few years ago, an old man from the north told me of a place called Wackenstein. Apparently, there is an old path there, older than the dwarven tunnels themselves.
Legends and stories. There's too much uncertainty. Let's just see what the next few days bring.
There was a point I wanted to make about their parlor tricks passing as magic, but I couldn't remember. I couldn't quite find the words. I don't know. I do enjoy the idea of using, you know, tech or, you know, that kind of thing to fuck with opponents, make it seem that you can do magic when you're not. But as far as I know, this guy is actually a mage. That's what, well, if he was transforming on stage, there's no way he's being legit. There's no way he's truly being legit on it. But, yeah, I like the idea of it. I just couldn't find good wordings to express it. My mind's just kind of dead right now. Apologies. I might switch this guy out and give one of these a try. Ooh, this guy has an extra ability. Orcs and dogs. Orcs start to panic. Poison dart to the knee. Ooh, he gets 2 AP instead of 1 per kill. Ooh, nice. Every second blow? Jesus. Let's give him a try. Wait, he's saying that she was a human female. And I presumed she was an elf. Because plus she has the whole shadow step and swift thing. And she's noted as especially attractive. Presumably she's an elf. Let's go up this way. We can save this village.
The all too familiar stench of tallow and grease reaches your nose. You know what this means.
Or maybe not. Probably won't count now. He's got 10 with her. 90 with these. These apparently gone back around to 10. Presumably they mean 100. But it's just like, eh? Also, I do have this guy twice. The hell?
What is it? At your service. Excellent choice. I understand. Who's next? I.
Another one bites the dust.
Oh,
I understand. At your service. Fight. I.
Too easy.
I understand.
yeah, I'm not buying that this guy isn't a mage. Like, certainly, maybe he's using his acting to improve his disguise skills. You know, practical effects are better than, you know, special.
At your service.
But, I don't know.
What is it?
I'm just not buying it.
As good as done. On my way. Say goodbye forever. And what now?
Oh.
Could I get you to just actually engage?
At your service.
Thank you.
I put up a excellent choice. Oh.
Engage. Do it.
What is it? At your service. I.
And again. Yes?
And what now? Yes?
But yeah, my head's just a little dead right now. So apologies if I can't be particularly articulate.
Put up a fight.
Another one bites the dust.
But yeah, there can be advantage to having, showmen like this. Again, it's tricking enemies into thinking you're powerful mages, or he can transform into people. There is use for those talents. It's situational, and obviously not it requires finesse to use it right, but it can be quite useful.
For you, this. Aye.
Huh?
Okay. Heavy strike.
Yes.
Heavy strike.
Yes.
Another victory.
That didn't
Your
happen.
demise was inevitable.
Too easy.
And again.
The guy is also rather clued in as to what's going on.
I understand.
Despite the other guy being somewhat stealthy in what he's done. He knows that the other guy murdered everyone and
Yes, I was. Another victory. Over there, glad. Excellent choice. File over there, glad. Ah, I understand.
Understood.
this guy is also better in a fight than the Tempestuous.
Service.
His abilities are much easier to control.
Fabricus.
At your service. Excellent choice.
Pull him back a little.
Over there.
Too easy.
What is it?
Oh, no.
Of course.
Finish him, please.
What is it?
Tungdil, move to the side. You, move to the side. I want to immolate.
I. At your service.
Who's next?
I understand.
For you. This. A cheek on my way. Huzzah!
Okay, Boindil was nowhere near that weak.
Ow! Another one bites the dust. What is it?
I. I understand. Excuse me, but I'm going to have to do this.
All right.
This is going to be
Bad luck for
bloody.
you.
I think I might keep this guy in the party. I'm a little iffy on him, but I'm actually kind of enjoying his dialogue.
Yaha! Vile creature.
These are a little flaky.
What the hell were those things?
Goimgar carefully pokes one of the dead little creatures with his sword, as if he fears it'll jump up and attack him.
Have you never defended your past, Simmerbeard? Those are Bognalim. Small, ugly, stinking, cowardly. Sound like anyone you know?
Goimgar looks angrily at Boindil and is going to reply, but Namora speaks first.
They are like little orcs. They are even more primitive and make up for their physical weakness through their sheer numbers. They live in caves all around here.
While the others talk about Bognalim, you examine a decorated ox skull that the orcs had with them. It wasn't made by them, and somehow looks valuable. You pocket it.
That's terrible. He revolves around himself. That would probably work better as... I'm not sure how to do it. If you say his blades revolve around himself, it makes it sound magical. You kind of have to rephrase the whole sentence. I have to go... You know. Boindu. How would you put it? This phrasing sounds weird to me. He revolves. Boindu revolves around himself while he moves. That sounds weird. The best I'm like getting, my head's a little dead right now. So it's like spins his axes around himself. You know, he. Boindle creates a miniature dwarven whirlwind of death. You know. It just sounds weird, that. But yeah, go with that. Give him Blade Storm. Oh, nice. He basically gets a similar move as the other guy. Go for Earthquake. I don't see the Ox Skull.
You spend the night protected from the wind in a ruin, and are sitting around a campfire as the topic of your new companion's performance on the stage comes up.
Sleight of hand, speed, alchemy, and makeup can have an incredible effect. Nomura transformed herself into an elf using the latter.
I also noticed your weapons, Nomura. I've never seen such swords before.
Their names are Crescent and Sunbeam. I designed them myself. It took a long time until I found a smith who was able to make them.
She looks like a pointy ear too. Nature hasn't been kind to her.
For this absent-minded remark, Boindil receives evil looks from Nomura and grins from the men.
Perhaps I really am an elf, and will bring you a nightmare in your sleep tonight. Don't be surprised if you wake up screaming.
For a moment, it seems as though she has merged with the darkness, but when you blink, everything is back to normal.
By the gods, isn't she magnificent in her role?
There is no denying what Rodario says.
I think they all did their. Maybe that one guy is an engineer, but the rest, I think, have magic. Like, I think she is an elf.
You are walking past an inconspicuous copse as Nomura suddenly stops on the spot.
Wait! We are not alone. Someone is watching us.
A trap?
Die, scum!
What are you doing? Why are you attacking us? We're dwarves too. We're on the same side.
I see honest dwarves here, but they are accompanied by scum. I will free you of it.
Oh, really? And what are you going to do on your own against 8?
You, come here.
What?
Brother, what are you doing?
Boindil, what's wrong? Come to your senses.
It's no use. They belong to me. Now die, scum.
Wow. I'm killing her.
My hammer!
What?
Don't know how far this goes.
Yes? Why not? All right then.
Move.
Quick.
Yes?
Do it.
Well, yeah?
I think she took the shot.
I'm on it.
Even I am not that quick.
I think he's still being a showman even when he's trying to kill us. Commendable effort.
Just a minute.
Knew it. Attack! You're going to leave me here to perish.
What is it?
Yes,
Oh,
yes. Soon.
Why not?
Nope.
I'm on my way.
He might be dead.
Just a minute.
Well,
No sooner does the unknown dwarf fall unconscious to the floor than her control over your comrades disappears. You fetter and gag her until you know more about her sinister powers.
That was, I hope I didn't hurt you, Scholar.
It was as if in a dream. But at the same time, it wasn't. I heard her voice in my head, and although I knew better, I only saw orcs attacking me. You were the enemy.
Boindil goes over to the shackled dwarf and kicks her gently with his boot.
This is never a child of the smith, even if she looks like one. Those gifts. By Vrakas, there is something evil at work.
You kneel in front of the dwarf and press your axe against her throat.
My name is Tungdil. If I remove your gag, will you answer some questions?
The captive nods, and you pull the gag out of her mouth.
Geralda is my name. It would seem I underestimated you.
Your powers, I've never heard of anything like it.
Neither have I. I haven't had them for long. When I try to remember, all I see is...
She's a
black
raised
mist,
dwarf.
And I taste iron and mud, and there's an elf who... Ugh.
Did the Alpha give you these powers?
When I try to remember, it hurts. Like needles sticking into my head. I am Geralda Bloodstone. I was...
She's a res dwarf. Remember what the other guy said? Remember the dwarf we played in the prologue? He'll be rezzed as one of them. I think she was. Maybe the process was incomplete, or maybe this is a ploy. But, yeah. Only way I could explain a dwarf having magic.
You said something about scum when you attacked us. Has Namora done anything to harm you?
Not her, but her kind. Alpha.
She is a human. She only acts at being an elf in theatre.
In the theatre?
For the first time, Geralda looks at Namora without a hateful expression.
She must die.
Where have you come from and what brings you to Wayan?
I was on my way to the Free Folk. They are said to live in the middle of Girdlegard, without kingdoms or their laws.
The Free Folk? You mean dwarves?
Yes, dwarfs who have left their kingdoms, voluntarily or otherwise. Not everyone has a place in their kingdom.
You instinctively think of your own plight. You are not a secondling, and won't be welcome among the fourthlings since you placed obstacles in their king's path.
Don't believe this nonsense, Scholar. The free folk are just a fairy tale that people tell themselves when they don't want to stick to the traditions. Just look what good it's done Geralda.
Geralda prepares to reply, but then she holds back.
Enough talk. She is dangerous, probably crazy. She attacked us, we should put an end to her.
It's what you call amnesia, memory loss, a tool often used in stage productions. We don't know what happened to her, and maybe she doesn't either. We can't just kill her.
I know there's an achievement, so I'm going to take her with us. But I'm inclined Honestly, I'm inclined to kill her outright.
She's too dangerous just to let go, so we'll take her with us. Remove the fetters.
You nip any objection in the bud and turn to Geralda.
Listen, don't know what has happened to you, but we are dwarves and we shouldn't fight against one another. We could do with your help.
The female dwarf seems just as surprised by your decision as your companions.
Thank you. I would be happy to accompany you. I am Geralda Bloodstone, of the Fourth Ling Kingdom. I'm sorry that I attacked you. It was a misunderstanding.
You realize that your decision doesn't please everyone. Boindil and Namora seem particularly upset, but they hold back, and you continue on your way, a slightly gloomy mood hanging over the group.
She's level 10. Jeez. She actually has a relationship of 10 with her? That makes no sense. It's annoying that she no longer has... Oh, nice. If she gets hit, she can dominate an enemy, but only one at a time. I can't actually switch away from these people.
Your path leads you to a small fishing village on the banks of Lake Ontario. The villagers are busy and don't pay you much attention, apart from a fisherman on a boat who nods at you before returning to his nets. You can just about make out a jetty on the other side of the lake.
Excuse me, my name is Tungdil. Can you ferry us across to the other side?
The fisherman looks across the lake to the jetty on the other side, before turning back to you.
Oh, you're polite. I like that. Samuel is my name. I'll ferry you across for 10 provisions or 20 gold, whichever you prefer.
Not at the moment, thank you.
Oh, well, no skin off my nose. If you change your mind, you know where to find me.
I was thinking it might be just talk, but no. We'll go around the long way because I want to hit up here.
The group isn't overly friendly towards Geralda, and this evening she's sitting once again apart from the others. You ask yourself what you can do to break the ice when you see that she has a file in her hand. The file is wrapped around with silver wire and has a snap lock. The liquid in it is black. Geralda opens the lid and takes a big swig. As she puts down the bottle, a smile flits across her face, followed by a short expression of deep satisfaction. It is the first time that you have seen a positive emotion on the face of the somber dwarf.
Is that medicine?
No, it's... I don't know either. If I don't drink it, I have a longing for it. It gets stronger and stronger until I can't stand it anymore. When I drink it, the longing disappears, and I feel rested and strong.
And when the file's empty?
I don't know. I don't know where I got the drink from, let alone what it is. But if I don't drink it, frackers give me strength. I think I would go crazy or die.
Geralda plays with the file, lost in her thoughts, as if she were trying to remember where she saw it for the first time.
It's a drug of some sort, I guess.
The size of the fields and the farmsteads grow as you get closer to Ferenciensis, the old border city in the north. The old city wall is much too small for the size of today's settlement. Everywhere little cottages, and even the odd magnificent estate, extend beyond the wall.
Viranciensis. Ah. This city is home to the Grand Archive. There are countless works from all over Girdlegard here. I wonder whether we'll be allowed to go in.
You try to gain access to the city, but the guards on the wall are unyielding. The Orc armies in the south and the movement of the Perish land has prompted the city council to lock Viranciensis up. You try not to show your disappointment, but Boindil looks at you curiously.
Is a house full of dusty books really that important, scholar? That's no place for a dwarf.
There are also books by dwarves and about dwarves in that archive. They've practically got everything that has ever been written. They've even got notes on the races of Girdlegard, singularities and oddities, by M.A. Het.
A book about dwarves? That really can't be any good at all.
You leave the impressive city of Viranciensis behind you and continue on your way. As on the previous evening, Bavragor sits apart from the others. But tonight, he waves you over.
Smeralda, my sister. You want to know what happened, right?
You nod and sit down.
Smelly Esmeralda.
Boindil into battle. We tried to talk her out of it, but she was as unyielding as a mountain. Then came the day when the High Pass was attacked.
Bavragor drinks from his liquor.
He killed her. Blinded by the frenzy of battle, he thought she was one of the enemy. I can never forgive him. He killed my sister. Could you?
You inevitably remember the loss of Lot Yonan, Frala, and her children. You remain sitting in silence, each of you deep in thought. Boendal approaches, having either heard you or guessing what you were talking about.
His fierce life forge is a curse. He thought the orcs had robbed him of his love, and the ire came over him. Sometimes he calls her name in his dreams. Oh, he'd never admit it, but he suffers just like Bavragor. He too loved her.
The stonemason doesn't react, so you and Boendal go back to the others by the fire.
It is kind of unsurprising that's what happened, because like they had to hold him back from just trying to kill villagers earlier. I was hoping I could get some
The
food.
jetty is empty, but you can see Samuel on his boat, half...
So, we meet again. Not at the moment. Oh, well.
Oh, tavern.
A two-story tavern sits on the corner of a crossroads. The snow around the building has been cleared away, and a warm light is coming from inside. The sign above the door reads, Minstrel Castle.
Minstrel Castle? That sounds promising.
The old building has nothing in common with a castle. It seems rather nondescript. A simple tavern for simple people.
Finally! Time for ale! My throat is completely parched.
As much as I hate agreeing with you, I too can hardly wait.
You enter the tavern with Bavragor and Boindil in front. On first impression, the interior is as inconspicuous as the outside. But when you take a closer look, you spot a couple of paintings of minstrels in front of a castle, a small stage that, judging by the dust, is only very rarely used, and a lute hanging on the wall behind the bar. There are not very many guests on the ground floor, perhaps a dozen, and most of them belong to a group of mercenaries who have retreated into the far corner. You sit at a table, and after a while you are brought the ale that Boindil has ordered. You go to the bar where the landlady is working and sit on a stool. The landlady, a stout, middle-aged woman with long hair tied in a ponytail, looks up briefly but says nothing.
Say, why is the tavern called Minstrel Castle? It doesn't look much like a castle.
Oh, you don't know the legend, dwarf.
One of the guests next to you at the bar takes up your question.
There was a castle here once. No one knows its name anymore, so everyone just calls it Minstrel Castle. Once upon a time a king lived in that castle. He had many subjects and an enchanting queen. But one day a young minstrel came along and sang of wonderful far-off lands, and the subjects began to complain about their own lives. So the king sent for the singer to hear for himself. He came and sang a wonderful love song, and the king began to be scared. He thought that the minstrel wanted to steal away his queen. Without flinching, he drew his sword and struck the boy down. His father heard of this. He was himself a singer, and so he went to the king and played a terrible song, a curse. The king was to vanish in silence, and no one was to remember his name.
And that's what happened. No one remembers the name of the king or his castle. Make of it what you will. The story's certainly well known enough in the area to give Arin its name.
A fitting fate. It's kind of a fate worse than death, if you get me. Just complete oblivion. Oh God. For those who haven't followed the channel long, it's been getting better as of late. I have different anxieties swearing instead, but I've been struggling with fear of impending doom. Excuse me, apologies. Fear of impending doom. Ever since I read a different story, due to like how the end went. Girl's Last Tour. Just, oh God. Just, I kind of gave a spoiler there, but it just, jeez. Let me just put a spoiler warning there, just before I make that reference. I really should call quits now in a second. It's nearly 5:20. But yeah, I'll just try and put a spoiler warning there. But yeah, it just that ending killed me. So yeah, been struggling with that since. It's been better of late. I've just had different anxieties instead. Oh, Jesus. Oh, here it is. The skull of an ox ornamented with satanic symbols. Randomly Satan.
You nod at the landlady as you slip off the bar stool, and she nods back. Bavragor and Boindil, who are absorbed in a drinking competition, have to be practically dragged out of the tavern. But in the end, you are able to continue your journey.
Oh.
When you enter the pretty little village with its richly ornate houses and its temple to Palanai at its center, you can see an angry mob some distance away. The villagers are hassling a young woman, insulting her and pushing her to the ground. You push your way through the crowd of people and stand in the way of the villagers.
What's going on here?
A man dressed in richly decorated vestments looks you up and down.
Palanai will be with you, dwarf. It is none of your business, but this woman here is a thief. She and her henchmen have emptied the monastery's granary and were willing to abandon us to our fate.
That's a lie. We asked for help and these people turned us away. I came back to ask again.
What evidence do you have against this woman?
We found the granary broken into. Almost a third of our grain and a significant amount of supplies have gone. And all this just one day after she and her people were snooping around here.
That isn't proof. That's... Could have been them sussing the place out. Or... just coincidence. Or you're giving... They were there, you know, hoping for mercy. And use that as an excuse to hide supplies, pinch it yourself, and then pin it on them.
That isn't proof. It could simply be coincidence. Anyway, why would a thief come back to the scene of a crime?
The priest eyes you in silence, while some of the villagers make it clear that dwarves should keep their noses out of their business.
That's misspelled, I think. It looks wrong.
Tell us what happened.
The villagers grumble, but the priest gives the woman a chance to defend herself.
My name is Tavia. I was forced to flee Tabayin with my family when the perished land began to spread. My husband, we had to leave him behind.
The horror in the woman's eyes gives you a good idea as to what became of her husband.
No one accepted us in the north. There are too many refugees and everyone is scared. Queen Wei has offered land in Wayan to anyone who will work hard for it. But what should we grow if no one will sell us grain? We offered a fair price, but Father Malin...
She darts a scathing gaze at the priest.
He wanted double the amount.
The priest glances briefly at the angry villagers. Then he replies in a firm voice.
It was a hard winter. And, with the increasing frequency of orc attacks, we must think of ourselves first and foremost. Even we cannot help everyone.
The bystanders mutter in agreement.
The accusations are serious, so let's get to the bottom of the matter to be completely sure.
We have no doubt that she did it.
The priest looks at the villagers standing around him, the lust for blood written in their faces.
On the other hand, before we do something we can't undo...
Dissatisfied murmuring grows, which the priest debates with mollifying gestures.
Search for your evidence. You there, lock this woman up in the guardhouse in the meantime.
The woman is taken into a squat building made of rough blocks of stone. The crowd slowly disbands. You enter the village's large storehouse. The ground floor of the two-story building is full of turnips, with large barrels and clay pots on the floor and on high shelves. Several villagers are carrying out stock-taking. They're being supervised by a weedy man who observes them with a grim expression and writes things on a wax tablet every now and then. Work is in full swing. The man with the wax tablet grumbles now and then in agreement when one of the peasants shouts out a number to him. It shouldn't take too much longer until they finish the inventory. There are sacks piled up on top of one another on the first floor. They are most likely filled with different kinds of grain and, judging by the omnipresent white dust, flour. You look around for a portable source of light.
Can anyone see a candle or a torch? I need a light.
I wouldn't recommend that.
The Magister Technicus has followed you into the storehouse.
One spark could ignite the flour dust. We sometimes use the effect when we want to create huge balls of fire on the stage.
I think we could do without huge balls of fire in here.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
You walk towards the only area in the storeroom where you can see the floorboards. You hesitate as your boots slip on the floor, as if you're walking on mud.
Tongue deal.
The Magister Technicus carefully observes the roof beams above the empty corner. He grabs at a beam and crumbles something between his fingers. You can't make out what it is, so you copy him and feel damp, rotten wood. It's very easy to pull away small pieces.
What are you doing here?
The man with the wax tablet is standing on the stairs. He sounds half angry, half shocked.
No one is allowed in here.
The rain has gotten here. The roof and the floor are damp.
Those savages! It wasn't enough that they steal from us, they had to damage the roof too! That was probably where they got in.
The wood didn't start to rot yesterday, good man.
The steward's face turns bright red.
And you are the experts on such things, are you?
Assuming the roof here has been leaky for a long time, what would have happened to the grain in the sacks directly underneath? Wouldn't it have turned rotten?
The man wets his lips. His gaze darts around the room.
The roof was fine. I'll have it repaired. And now, get out of here!
The steward angrily blocks off all further attempts at talking to him, and even when you threaten him with Father Malin, it doesn't have the desired effect. The father trusts in him, he says, and he's always been a devout follower. The heavy door of the storehouse closes behind you, and you hear a bolt sliding into place from the inside.
Yo, Hammer Dwarf.
You enter the guardhouse, and before the guards know, Boindale and Boendal have caught them up in a friendly conversation. Shielded from the view of the guards, you exchange a few words with the suspect without being disturbed.
Why did you come back to the village?
I wanted to negotiate with Father Malin for the grain. What else could I do? No sooner had I arrived than they surrounded me and accused me of robbery.
Where have you taken the grain and supplies?
I don't know anything about grain or supplies. Apart from the fact that we could do with both, I'm telling you, I am innocent!
We won't let anyone do anything to you, but if we are going to help you, you will have to tell us the truth.
The woman looks you in the face, then her head sinks, and when she looks back up, she has tears in her eyes.
Please, I just want to go back to my family. I don't know what happened.
Tongue deal.
You feel sympathy towards the woman. You raise your hand to silence Rodario and nod to the woman to continue talking.
She's play acting.
We asked for grain and were full of hope when we saw the well-filled granary. We hadn't reckoned on the malice of the people here.
A slow, ironic clap sounds from behind you. Confused, you turn around to face Rodario.
Bravo, my dear, with tears and everything. Tough luck that a master of the art of acting is present. None of what she said corresponds with the truth, Tungdil. She is lying and trying to deceive us. Not completely talentless for an amateur.
You expect the woman to deny everything, but when she overcomes her amazement, she spits in the actor's face.
And what if I am? I would do it all again. The people here have more than they need and my people are starving. Is that fair?
Why did you come back here after stealing the grain and supplies?
We didn't steal them. We paid for them. A reasonable price, just not to Father Malin.
You had help.
He promised us 3 dozen sacks of grain. When we opened the sacks in our hideout, we realized that most of the grain was rotten. He thought he'd get away with it.
The woman looks around wearily.
And by the looks of things, he has.
Spit it out. Where are the spoils and your people?
I'd rather die than tell you that.
The woman looks at you determinedly, and neither of you blink.
Morris the steward offered you the grain, didn't he?
What does that matter? I've no proof it was him. And even if I did, if I admit that we have the stuff, I'll be hanging from a tree by this evening and my children will starve. I beg you, let me go. We bought the grain and the supplies. Perhaps he wasn't allowed to sell it to us. But we paid. And with a little seed we can sow, at least some of us have a chance of surviving the year.
can I trust you? You lied.
Who wouldn't do everything to offer their children a future? Lying is the very least.
I'm not happy with either choice here.
I don't want you to be hanged just because you tried to support your family. Go.
You open the door. The guards jump up, take up their swords, and let their hands sink down again when they feel the axes of the dwarves against their throats. The woman lays a hand on your shoulder for a moment as a sign of gratitude, before she runs from the guardhouse.
I hope you know what you're doing, Scholar.
Rodario's furrowed brow does not give you the feeling you've made an undisputed decision.
Namora, find out where she's heading and then rejoin us.
Fergus wants to raise an objection, but before he can think of the right words, Namora has kissed him on the mouth and has disappeared round the next corner. You leave the guardhouse and explain your plan to Father Malin. You expect him to object, but he seems to be satisfied. You assume he'll make you responsible for everything if something goes wrong, and will claim a piece for himself if you are successful.
The Game of Thrones, really?
Like every night in the wilderness, you set up camp and assign the watch. Bavragor takes first watch this evening, while the rest of you sit by a small fire, toasting some bread. You're not particularly surprised that neither Bavragor nor any of the others notice the guest who suddenly appears out of the darkness next to you.
Namora!
Fergus jumps up, and moments later has embraced her tightly.
Were you able to find out anything?
She didn't detect me and led me straight to the hideout. I can show you. It's a cave some miles off from the path. Almost 4 people, men, women and children.
You nod. You have tracked down Tavia's hideout.
Or camp.
When you enter the strongly fortified mountain village, you see a large group of miners standing around a shaft in heated discussion.
Wish it was better at showing where it was.
I swear! A young man in mining clothes defiantly stares at an older man who is a good head taller than him.
Even if you did, smashing the lift hoist, it would have been better to have not sent the cage down again until we cleared this thing up.
Is there a problem?
The older man, perhaps a foreman, is so angry that he hardly seems to have realized that he's talking to a dwarf.
Mika here says that he saw orcs in the mine, and he smashed the lift hoist to bits. The cage has crashed to the bottom of the shaft. How are we supposed to work now?
Can we help you somehow?
Help? Well, we'll have to repair the hoist, and we need a new cage.
The foreman turns to a man next to him for answers. He's just as muscular, with dirty, calloused hands and an angular face.
It will take at least 2 weeks, but we don't need any help.
unless you can speed up time.
I'll need 1 day. 2 at the most, if there are problems.
The foreman looks aghast at the Technicus, unsure whether he's joking or not.
1 day? Have you got any idea how...
Fergus is the most talented Magister Technicus in Girdlegum.
Probably the only one too, but...
What have you got to lose? Let him help.
Well, as long as he doesn't get in my way...
The worker shrugs his shoulders.
Why not?
We'll do it for free. I'm feeling generous. No, actually, I need the provisions. But yeah, master engineer, it seems. If he's not just tricking them. You know, showmanship. They get in, we get the provisions, we leave, they die.
Good. Then we'll help you. But we would like provisions for it. 30 rations.
Sure. If you pull it off, the provisions are yours. You really trust in your skills, don't you? Mika, give him a hand.
Fergus immediately gets to work, examining the hoist. After a few moments, he sends Mika off with a list of tools and spare parts, and explains to you how to build the cage, while he takes care of the hoist's rustic mechanism. After half a day, the cage is operational again, but Fergus is still busy with the hoist. You just hear him muttering.
So far, there is no automatic brake in case the ropes snap, but it shouldn't be too hard to fit one.
Fergus decides to fit the automatic brake, but it takes more time than expected. Building the hoist from scratch would have been simple, but the upgrade turns out to be complicated. In the end, it takes 2 days until the lift is operational again. After the work is done, you report to the foreman.
You've kept your part of the deal, we'll keep ours. Take the provisions for your journey.
Oh, we didn't take issue with it. That's fine. They were saying that it took longer. I was expecting there to be an issue, but no. Yeah.
You travel down into the mine in the repaired lift. Mika shows you the place where he saw the orcs, and you follow the winding gallery. After 1,000 paces, you stopped counting, and only after several hours do you reach an exit. There's a stench of tallow in the air. The tunnel leads directly into a huge orc camp, which blocks the pass into Snowdale Valley. If you attacked from here, you'd have the element of surprise on your side.
I could go and take a look and perhaps improve our chances for an attack.
You remember how the actor had transformed himself into Lot Yonin and Nudin in Mifidania. You certainly wouldn't bet against him being able to walk through the orc camp unnoticed.
I'll come with you. If I stay in the shadows, they won't see me.
The actor nods gratefully.
I'll come too. I also know how to keep myself hidden.
Nomura wants to object, but you are quicker.
Thank you, Geralda. 2 more eyes and ears would be helpful on such a mission. Listen, try to sabotage their defenses, and if you can safely take out a couple of guards, then do it. But don't take any big risks. Come back here if things get too hairy.
Nomura and Rodario rejoin you without any particular urgency. The infiltration was a complete success. No one detected the 2 of them.
What about the other one? And I'm also stuck with these. Maybe next time we get into combat I can switch it around. I didn't get to talk to the trader either.
The village seems much emptier than...
Yes.
You enter seat. The priest is lost in thoughts, standing in front of the temple, as if he couldn't decide whether to go in or not.
I was wondering, What was here first, the temple or the village?
Ah, a keen eye. The temple is indeed much too big for such a small village. It was built on the foundations of an old stronghold when salt was found nearby. The village has grown over the years in the shadow of the temple. Good people live here, honest and pious children of Pilandio.
He glances at the place where the woman was surrounded.
Why can't we just be left in peace?
The roof of the granary is leaky. We saw some rotten wooden planks.
Again? Morris only had the roof repaired last summer.
Did he? If he didn't, some of the grain would have got damp and rotten.
Out of the question. Morris would have reported that. He checks the grain once a month and there were no complaints.
The priest has absolutely no doubt in what he is saying, often a sign that someone hasn't thought things over.
Supposing Tavia really did steal the grain and supplies, but only to save her family, would you turn a blind eye?
Palandiel teaches generosity, but that too must have its boundaries. We cannot help everyone. At some point there won't be enough for us.
So, if you had sold the grain, the people of Seaton would have starved?
Maybe not. Not yet. But if we always give everything we have away...
No one is saying always, and no one is saying everything.
The priest shrugs his shoulders apologetically. He doesn't wish to spoil things with his flock. You nod goodbye.
The thieves' hideout is all the way over there. Jesus Christ.
Your path leads you once. You enter the...
Oh. We can talk to the armed humans now.
Good day, gentlemen.
Get lost, Groundling.
Be quiet! The good dwarf may want to make use of our services if you stop insulting him.
The mercenary immediately becomes sheepish and concentrates on his tankard of beer.
My name is Gurnham, the leader of this troop.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Gurnham. I am Tungdil Goldhand. I actually do wish to inquire after your services.
Goldhand?
Against an orc camp in the west.
The leader of the mercenaries looks at you, trying to size you up.
You and your companions look as though you know how to handle your weapons. Must be a damn big orc camp.
Sorry.
Otherwise, we wouldn't ask for your help. So, are you in?
Why not? 500 gold coins for me and 9 of my men. In advance.
You go back to the mercenaries. They look up briefly before turning back to their drinks.
So, have you made your decision, dwarf?
She could probably charm them, I guess, but...
You ask Rodario to negotiate with the mercenaries. Happy to be able to demonstrate his skills, the actor steps over to the mercenaries' table.
My dear fellows,
I like
if
this
I
guy.
may introduce myself, I am the fabulous Rodario. Huh? What do you want?
Without even waiting for Rodario to introduce himself, one of the younger mercenaries interrupts him. Rodario isn't put off his stride for long and starts again.
Well, what I wanted to say is that I immediately recognize you as a group of experienced warriors who have already won several, if not even innumerable, battles. But have you ever received the recognition that you deserve? A gifted poet like me could write a fantastic drama about your stories.
A play?
Indeed, your legend will live forever. Generations of people will talk about you.
And you're saying that wouldn't happen anyway?
While Rodario is still looking for a suitable answer, the mercenary laughs.
I'm just pulling your leg. Now get lost. We don't need verse. We need money.
You nod at the mercenary.
Fair enough.
You go to the bar.
Oh, that's
You nod.
understandable.
Bavrigor. The familiar jet.
So, not at the moment, thank you.
Oh, well.
Actually, no. That would have been a good offer.
You leave.
Bit of a waste there, but whatever.
You give Samuel the gold, and after a long discussion with the dwarves in the group, you follow him onto the boat. The dwarves
they can't
literally
swim.
leap out of the boat as soon as you reach dry land.
We could have died. I hope it was worthwhile, Scholar.
Yeah, the goddess of water doesn't like them.
You can make out a cave in the bank of a dried-out riverbed, with several small fires burning in it. You don't see any guards, so you approach carefully. Men and women jump as they notice you. There is terror written in their emaciated faces. When a little girl screams and runs away from you, the whole camp is alerted, and a group of men and women step out of the cave.
Is that them? Your benefactors?
Tavia, who came out of the cave next to the man, nods.
You've led them straight here.
Who are you?
The man resembles Tavia. His face too tells of a struggle between defiant determination and fatigue and resignation.
I am Gerald, Tavia's brother. I led these people here from Tabayin.
You look around you. You guess there are about 10 families, less than 50 people. Half of them are children and youths.
Your sister couldn't have known that she was being followed. Mora has quite a talent for not being seen.
She shouldn't even have gone to Seaton in the first place. I knew that nothing good would come of it.
Tabayin is a fertile country in the north, but much more importantly these days, it borders the Perish land to the east.
How are things in Tabayin?
Gerald's expression changes. It's as if he's looking through you.
The Perish land is raging. It poisons the spirit, and those who become possessed by it.
Gerald looks at his hands, which he involuntarily forms into claws.
They no longer recognize you. Brothers, mothers, children. My brother-in-law. I had to...
With visible effort, he wrenches himself free of his terrible memories.
We can only hope that the Magi manage to build a new barrier soon.
You cannot bring yourself to quash the last hope he has.
Tavia went to Seaton on her own initiative.
Our gold was gone and our supplies were dwindling, despite being on half rations. I said we should just take what we need if no one is going to help us, but my sister wouldn't have anything to do with it. She took the wedding jewelry from our village, the most valuable thing we had with us, and sold it without my knowing. She then took this money and went to Seaton with several men. I was completely beside myself when I heard about it, but then they came back with food and grain, and I thought they had really done it.
He laughs cheerlessly and shakes his head.
For a few minutes we thought we were saved.
What's wrong with the grain from Seaton?
We thought we finally had a change of luck for the better. We were praying for a new start, but then we discovered that most of the grain was rotten and unusable. They'd been ripped off by the bloody steward. We all got together and discussed what was to be done. The majority was in favour of going to Seaton and taking what was due, at any price. The next morning, Tavia disappeared. It was clear to me that she had returned to Seaton. We were going to give her a couple of days, and in the meantime, we prepared for our attack. We needed weapons, and we needed a plan.
The supplies and the grain, where are they?
Gerald glances at your companions.
The grain is mainly useless. There's only 4 or 5 usable sacks. We shared out the supplies, and that'll keep us going for the next few weeks.
I'm on to Dawn of War Part 13. Oh, power demands sacrifice. Ah, I love Sindri's purr. Ah, he shouldn't have died. Ah. They should have brought him back, damn it. But yeah, so was fed to a demon. Sindri has such a great voice. Ugh. I'm not sure what choice to make. I wish there was an option for us to get the rotten grain. And just be like, this is all I found.
If you return the grain, Father Malin may temper justice with mercy.
Mercy?
Gerald spits at the floor.
Let my people starve so that the people in Seaton can live in affluence for another year? No, I won't let my family die. The grain and the supplies stay here.
Gerald braces himself, placing his right hand on his axe.
This option.
We should appease the people of Seaton. Give them back half their grain.
You raise your hand to nip Gerald's objection in the bud.
I'm of course talking about the rotten grain. You keep the good grain, we will receive at least part of our reward, and Morris will be forced to explain how his excellent grain could turn rotten so quickly.
Boindale stares at you. Then a grin slowly spreads across his face.
Ha! That's our scholar.
You see tired but happy faces all around you. The people breathe a collective sigh of relief.
We'll take half of the grain back in secret. Know this, good dwarf. Whenever you need help, we will stand by your side. We don't have much to offer you, but we can muster together a few strong arms for battle, and we have some outstanding archers.
You nod and are happy to have made some new friends.
I might come back to him to say hi, if I can. I could just go the other path, though, and not deal with the orcs. But I am tempted to just break the orcs anyway, because that such a camp will be a menace.
So long, my friend.
And part of me is inclined not to ask for the raid, because just while thinking of it beyond game terms, simply for the fact that...
The fishing village. You give some...
We could have died!
Simply for the fact they probably need everyone they can get.
Leads you one. You leave them in... You enter see. The priest is lost.
We have found the thieves' hideout.
Really? That's welcome news.
With an encouraging nod, the priest of Palandial
I'll call
prompts
it
you to
here in a
continue.
sec.
We spoke to the people there. It was very revealing.
And?
The priest gives you the same look he otherwise uses to reprimand the villagers' minor sins.
They say they paid Morris to sell supplies and grain to them.
The priest wants to object.
He ripped them off. That would be an explanation as to why Tavia came back this morning, don't you think?
The cogs are turning inside the priest's head. His expression reveals that he doesn't like his own conclusions.
And what about the grain and the supplies?
The refugees must have been very hungry. They'd already eaten the supplies by the time we arrived at the camp. We were able to secure most of the sacks of grain. We'll take them to the storehouse.
The priest eyes you in silence, and you look back without batting an eyelid.
Very well. You have earned this, Mr. Dwarf.
The priest brings out a pouch. He thinks for a moment, and then pulls another smaller pouch from his robes and gives it you.
It is time that my congregation concentrates once more on the essentials in life. Togetherness, and the compassion of the goddess.
He leaves you standing there without another word.
And that's us done there. Sadly, we didn't get to see a reaming on the other guy. Okay, I'm gonna save here. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you join me again soon. If there's anything you'd like to tell me, please let me know in the comment section below. But until then, love and peace, baby.